party. With us, we have, of course, Obaid is with us, and the lovely Lavender Lady has joined us. The wonderful Wonder Lady Faye has joined us. We've got my friend from across the pond, the Bad Tempered Badger, who's up at stupid o'clock in the morning as usual, and of course the one, the only Duke Bonanza. And we've been having kind of a morbid conversation, but
now we're going to talk about titties.
Hey, I could use a set of those.
So could I.
I have some by the front door, and every time I leave, I give them a little. I'm just kidding.
Oh man, I need to do that.
Everyone was into raising birds. That's very interesting.
You could have them as like an activator for your doorbell. Other than they'd be door knockers.
Ow!
God. Some of that fucking British humor, isn't it?
I love British humor.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh my!
So did anybody? Oops, sorry.
Go on.
Julie says. Okay, let's try that again. Who's going to go first here?
You're going to go first, Diana.
Julie says, you had a morbid conversation before I got here. I feel betrayed. We could always continue it. What the hell?
Did anybody see Bill Burr's latest comedy special?
Yeah. I can't say.
I think I liked Dave Chappelle's better.
I liked them both, but it was definitely a fucking throw the gauntlet down. I'm going to tell the jokes and fuck you if you don't like it special, dude. It was like, holy shit, dude. Like, I watched the whole thing. It was just like, oh my God, the balls on this guy are fucking humongous.
But you know what? It's about goddamn time. Because I've been getting sick and tired of this shit. It's everything. Okay. And it's not just this, it's everything. Like we're turning into goddamn cowards. Like, when the Anti-Defamation League says this is white supremacist and CNN runs a story about it, like, come on. Like, are we going to give up that? Like how, like, we're willing to give up this because a bunch of asshats on 4chan said, let's make this a white supremacist symbol. And then a bunch of other idiots took them seriously. And now this is a white supremacist symbol. Like,
and it's not.
Yeah,
it's
that's what
not.
I mean. Like, it's not, but like we're giving everything up.
I've quite specifically started doing that more since that whole mess happened.
I would say, who cares?
Just 1 second. Like, the burning the flag thing, right? Like, you can burn the flag. You have that right. This is not about whether you have the right or you don't have the right. Like, what are you protesting? If you say that the United States is a horrible country, it's evil, the whole system must be destroyed, burn it down, fine, burn the flag. I disagree with you, but at least that's a proper protest for that. If you're saying that the country meant something and the country stood for something and the flag stood for that, but now it's being overrun by assholes and racists or whatever, and so I'm going to burn the flag because it doesn't represent what the country used to be. Why are you giving that symbol up? Why are you letting those assholes and racists take it over? It's just like I said, we give up on everything now. We just fold over, and we've been letting this hysterical mob run rampant over everything, and it's like, let's start making fun of this nonsense, because that's exactly what it is. It doesn't deserve any serious conversation. Talk about it if you want. I'm not going to stop you from talking about it. You have that undue right, but I have the right to make fun of that fucking bullshit. And what South Park's been doing for the last few years, last 3 or 4 seasons, has been brilliant.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm quite specifically using the OK symbol more since that whole mess happened.
Well, no, I mean, I was going to say, like, I use the OK symbol when a waiter asks me if I need anything. Or, is everything okay? I'm like, it's okay. Yeah, we're good. That's just a way of me not interrupting my conversation.
Also,
because the waiter has bad timing.
This is great.
I used to scuba dive, and that's just standard hand signals for while scuba diving.
That's absolutely true.
Well, it's funny because I talk about like being offended, right? Because like being offended is now kind of like an extreme sport.
Yeah, definitely.
People say, "Can you be offended?" And I say, "Yeah." Every time a child steps on a landmine outside of Myanmar because the freaking Buddhists hate the fucking Muslims, I'm offended. You know, every time a child gets molested by a priest, every time some crazy shit like that happens, I'm wildly and deeply offended. If some comic gets up and tells a joke that's in bad taste, but it's funny, or even if it's not funny, I'm not offended by that. I don't give a shit that people say things. I just don't care about that. It's just not something that I'm wired to give a shit about.
Yeah, I'm offended by Disney's
Well,
Star
that's
Wars
offended.
knockoffs. I think they should cancel those.
Okay. Go ahead, Wonder Lady.
Well, I think it's very interesting because, like, Obaid, I heard what you said about boycotting and things like that, and I'm a boycotter, but I don't consider that to be cancel culture. To me, that's like, if I don't like something, I'm not gonna buy it. Like,
But
if I don't want to hear a TV show, I'm not gonna watch it. You know, that type of thing. And I know, you know, it's not like I'm calling for, oh, you know, what was it? Okay, I'm not a big fan of horror. So I'm not going to go see a horror movie, but I'm not going to go, oh, you need to end this because it makes me feel uncomfortable. And what I think a lot of people, and I agree with you, are doing is anything that makes them unhappy, they don't want anyone else to listen to or enjoy.
Right. Okay, you have that right. And you know what? There's a lot of things I don't like, you know? Like, I don't like My Little Pony. You know, I've never liked My Little Pony.
Me either. Oh, yeah, fist bump.
You know, but I'm not going to watch it. But I'm not going to stop someone else from enjoying it. Yeah. You know, whatever. But that's just it. Like, I mean, I don't consider that a boycott. Fun of it? Sure, but make fun of anything. Like, okay, you know, whatever. I'm trying to think of something that I like that other people only think is silly. And I'm sure there's a lot of it. Okay, I think The Big Lebowski is one of the funniest movies, and I know some people who think it's stupid. Make fun of it if you want. Make fun of it. Me for liking it, I don't care.
Big Lebowski is genius.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna put that out there.
Yeah, let's take the piss out of each other. Okay, like this quote, and this is, you know, this is H.L. Mencken. The liberation of the human mind is furthered by gay fellows who heaved dead cats into sanctuaries, then went roistering down the highways of the world, proving to all men that doubt, after all, was safe. You know, and that's just it. Like, come on, like, you got to start taking the piss out of it. Like, it's okay to doubt, it's okay to laugh, it's okay. You know, when you have comedians saying they're not going to go to college campuses, like, come on.
Why though?
That's right.
Because of like the
perform anyway.
Yeah, like the crazy woke progressive left. You know, like they're nuts.
Yeah, but it's also because of what Omer is saying. Like, if a comedian is going to play a college campus, a lot of times they're given like a sequester, like an entire list of things they can't talk about, they can't joke about, and it's like, well, what's the point of doing it if I can't joke about? Canceling has been canceled. I love that.
Yeah, I could just see a comedian. You know, God damn, this is my entire act. What am I doing here?
Yeah.
Well, also,
what would they do with George Carlin now?
Oh God, what would they do with Monty Python? Go and listen to Monty Python sings and tell me that half those fucking songs could still be fucking played now or written now.
There was that one that was quite specifically about saying a load of offensive things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, when celebrities go on talk shows as well, they come up with lists of things that they don't want to talk about. And sometimes it's on the table and sometimes it's off the table. It's a conversation. It's on both sides. It's agreement ahead of time. It has nothing to do with their free speech. They're just trying to market themselves.
Well, no, I'm not saying it has to do with the free speech. I'm saying that the colleges say you can't joke about these things, so the comedians say I'm not going to show up. Right?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
It's fine, but it's ridiculous.
But I mean, okay, but that's not a college that wants free speech then, because you're inviting a comedian.
It's not.
Okay, but then that's what I mean. Like, that's why comedians aren't speaking on it. That's your censoring. That's your cancel culture. Okay, you saying I'm not going to go do this, or I'm not going to buy, whatever. I'm not going to buy Nike. I'm not going to buy this. I'm not. That's you. That's your choice. And feel free to let people know. But
I'm not going to buy colored scented toilet paper. It's really bad for the environment. I don't care about the other shit.
If enough people make choices like that, then the companies doing the things that people disapprove of may change their minds.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. But to force that cancellation on other people, like, I don't care if you want to turn the TV channel off. and enough people do, the network's going to cancel it. You know, but to force that cancellation of that show because you don't like it, that's where I have the problem.
I got another example would be like, you know, Chick-fil-A has horrible practices, and as a result, I don't do business with Chick-fil-A. But when, you know, the mayor of New York was like, we're going to stop Chick-fil-A from opening franchises in the city because we don't like the you know what they're doing, I find that to be absolutely a display of using power in the wrong way.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But
I'm not going to.
Sorry.
After you.
I was going to say, if Chick-fil-A opens up a store and nobody goes to eat there, it's going to close down anyway. Let them open the store, and then let the people go, nah, I'm going to go to KFC. Bye.
Yeah. Let the market make that decision. Let the market make the decision. And it should be the same thing when it comes to entertainment. You know, if
like
I want
I'm
to
not
say,
going to blow up Disney's office because I don't like their Star Wars knockoffs.
I'm also not going to demand that Disney shut down. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to demand that they're no longer allowed to make movies because they're, you know, they make movies I don't like.
How much? Well, I don't like most of the things that Disney produces, so I'm kind of like in a love-hate. I like the music, but sometimes I'm just like, why? I'm kind of like at an internal war with Disney. Do I want to see them close? No. Do I want to see them change? Yes. If they want my business, they're going to have to change.
I'm starting to think I'd like to see them broken up into constituent companies.
That might be nice.
I don't know about that. I'm not.
They keep lying. Never mind. That's a different conversation. I'm sorry.
We saw how well that worked with AT&T, didn't we?
Yeah.
No, not wholesomely. No.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that the people that get offended for the sake of being offended, specifically people that get offended on behalf of other people. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not offended because of themselves.
Okay, Bill Maher was talking. Yeah,
go on.
Bill Maher was talking about it on the last episode he did. But I wrote about this a couple of years ago because it was something C.J. Whirlman put out, and C.J. Whirlman's an idiot. But I mean, I called it victimhood appropriation. You're appropriating someone else's victimhood. You're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But isn't that part of empathy?
Get bent.
No, I mean,
there's a difference between empathy and between that.
The point would be like if Russell Peters is doing a stand-up and he's doing the thing he does about Chinese people, where he does their voice, he does all that stuff. Every Chinese person in the room is laughing. The only person that gets pissed and calls him an asshole is some white lady in the back of the room. It's like, calm down. Everybody else gets it. Like Bill Burr said it really well when he said everybody thinks everything is funny until it comes around to them. You know what I mean? And I think that if you not understanding the irony that is absolutely necessary for good stand-up comedy is not the fault of the comedian.
But that has to do with comedy. Switch the subject around. Make it about Newark, New Jersey, who has lead in their water like Flint. You know, I think all people should have the right to clean water. I don't have that problem, but I'm offended that my government takes my money and doesn't use it for the right things. I'm going to scream and shout and yell.
I agree, and rightly so. Rightly so, you should. You know, especially with Flint, Michigan, in a situation where that's been going on for what? I mean, that's what the Aaron Brockovich movie was about, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's been going on for years, ever. You know, and no, they shouldn't be allowed to get away with that. But it's an entire difference between talking about like what somebody says, either as a joke or as their opinion, and what some multi-billion-dollar corporation is doing to poison the lives of all the surrounding population. But also, I think it's fine to boycott and scream and shout about Dave Chappelle or whoever else. Like, if you want to say, I think the guy's an asshole and I don't like his humor and I don't think he's funny and I think he's out of line. Well, don't watch it, but you also have the right to say, I think he's out of line. Sure. I have the right to say, well, fine, fuck you. I thought it was fucking funny.
You can watch it and say, I didn't like that. I'm not going to go to another show. And then everybody else there could say, well, I thought it was hilarious, and I am going to go to another show.
Mm-hmm. Like an adult.
Exactly.
Now, that is something we seriously lack here in the U.S. anyway. Now we've got a bunch of kids here, and in some ways I can understand the desire that some have for a nanny state, because the kids, and some of these kids are my age, okay, so let's look at it that way, are not doing us any favors.
No, they're not.
They're driving this country into a hole.
No, but that's just it. Like they're infantilizing everyone. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are.
But here's the thing. Okay, let's just like racism. Here's the thing. Like, I would call me a packy or a raghead or something. Then the benevolent bigotry that comes from someone who is like, you know what? It's not your fault. It was done to you because of imperialism. Will at least the racist, like the guy who's calling me a packy, the agency is saying, you are too stupid. You fucked your shit up. The other person saying, not only can you not fix your stuff, you need me to, you're a little kid who needs me to come and fix your stuff for you. But not only do I have to fix it for you, I was the one who caused it because you're too stupid to have caused it on your own. I find that.
I wrote a blog article about that called White People
racist.
and Anthropological Study.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I agree with the people who want the nanny state. I can just, I can see where they want that.
We have a level of entitlement these days that's absolutely mind-boggling. Like, everybody's entitled to their opinion being respected. Everybody's entitled to their... But what they don't realize is that if you think everybody's entitled to their opinion being respected, then that means the people whose opinions you don't like are entitled to having their opinions being respected. You know what I mean? Why not just say, honestly, nobody's entitled to have their opinion be respected and leave it at that?
Well, nobody is. That respect has to be earned. Now, there may be some entitlement to have that opinion heard, so you can make a total arse of yourself. But
no, you're allowed. You have an entitlement to speak. You don't have the entitlement to be heard. That's the difference. Nobody has to.
Oh, okay, that's what I was trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, someone might have an opinion, but that doesn't mean anyone may want to show up. I've got a YouTube channel that I can't get people to watch, and it's just like, yeah, I don't have that. I don't have entitlement to an audience.
Right. No, I agree. But Obaid, I wrote a blog article called "White People and Anthropological Study," and one of the groups I put in there was what I call the "I'm not like all the other white people."
If you and
they're like they're exactly what you described. It's like you can't do it without my help kind of mentality. You know what I mean? Like,
but okay, if you ever read any critical race theory, like that is a good white.
What the hell is critical race theory?
Oh, critical race theory is insane, man. Just read it. It is one of the most racist things I've ever read in my life. It is supposed to be anti-racist, but it is pure racism through and through.
Here's an interesting thing that's been happening more and more lately, as I've noticed, is that people are being made racist by other people's attempts to combat racism.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because suddenly everyone's gone. All the people who were there not giving a shit about race at all. They were just, this person is a slightly different color than me. I don't give a shit. all those people are suddenly now obsessed with it because they've been told that everything is race, and they have to constantly check everything against their chart of who is most oppressed.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. Read critical race theory. Read some stuff on intersectionality. Read some stuff on gender studies and queer theory. Now, I started reading this stuff when I into it, and not looking into this stuff specifically, trying to figure out what's going on, and I was just going everywhere. And then slowly I started getting to this stuff, and it's again I preach the values of the Enlightenment, and it's from Mill. He that only knows his side of the argument knows little of that. And then he goes on beyond that and says, if you want to learn that argument, you don't learn it from people who are explaining it to you. You learn it from the experts in that field. So slowly but surely, I started getting to what this stuff was. And now I'm not saying I'm right. This is my opinion based on my reading of it. And and like I said, then I've read a lot of commentary up to this point. So I read Robin DiAngelo, read Kimberly Crenshaw.
Yeah, I'm seeing these names coming up. I went to the Font of All Knowledge, and they didn't help at all, because what I'm seeing here is, excuse me, critical race theory is a hypothetical framework in the social sciences that uses critical theory to examine society and culture as they relate to categorizations of race, law, and power. What the fuck was that?
Okay, I'll explain critical race theory to you very simply. Now, let's just say, hypothetical here, right? There has not been a racist act committed in the United States and Canada for the last 50 years. Not one person is being racist. Nothing has happened. It's been perfect harmony, okay?
But that's bullshit.
Individual racist acts doesn't...
It's hypothetical,
hold on a second. Individual racist...
Hypothetical.
Yeah, but this is all hypothetical, but I'm trying to explain to you, in the hypothetical that there has not been one single individual racist act or no this person didn't get hired because they were black or whatever. Okay, there's been nothing like that. It is still a racist country, or they're both still racist countries because of systemic racism and whiteness. Whiteness, think of whiteness, if you know anything about Calvinism and whatchamacallit, total depravity.
Depravity, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the whole system is
No, you froze.
Individual acts of racism just go to prove the system, and even if you aren't racist, you are still subsumed by the racism. And it's so if I say that I don't experience racism, I've internalized it, and I've learned white ways of knowing. That's another thing it says. Logic and reason are white ways of knowing, and that's why people of color.
What?
Yeah, that's why people of color have a hard time in the STEM fields. Fuck you. The next time you speak to Dave in Wichita for Microsoft support, think about that. Fuck. Come on.
Just a second.
Well, yeah,
So,
that's
in the
correct.
hypothetical scenario, you could have a hypothetical country where nothing racist took place, but it would still be considered racist because there are white people in it.
Yeah. Okay. Diversity.
It would probably be a majority thing, right? It would be a subject of numbers, right?
No, it doesn't, because whiteness has subsumed everything, right? And then even if you go out to countries that were colonized, because of the colonizers introduced whiteness, so they brought it into it. So it's like the serpent coming into the Garden of Eden. It's original sin. All right. So now, if you go on to diversity, let's say you have two panels. One is they're both 50 people. One is all black. One is all the demographics you can think of, and one white person. The one that is all black is more diverse because the one with one white person on it, everyone else, because of the fact that white person is on there, is going to feel inferior and then start thinking like a white person. This is supposed to be anti-racist. It is some of the most racist stuff I have ever read, and it has no basis in logic or fact or reason.
Or reality.
Exactly. And that's where queer theory. That's why a bunch of people wrote an article, or a bunch of people wrote out tweets and stuff saying that Peter Buttigieg, or whatever his name is in the States, the guy running for the Democratic Party, the gay guy, openly gay guy.
Right. Yeah.
He's, because he doesn't embrace queerness, he's not really homosexual. He just has sex with men.
What?
Oh yeah, I've actually encountered that. No.
Yes.
I've encountered that. I've encountered that as a bisexual man dealing in this situation. I've been told more or less, that I was not gay enough to be gay. Which I thought was hilarious because, like, guys that think about gay guys, if you touch one penis, you're fucking gay. You know what I mean? It's like, I have touched a plethora of penises.
I've touched mine. Does that count?
Oh,
That would be what, auto-gay-theistic or something? I don't know.
Yeah, you got a moment.
But it's also like, how far is enough? Like, for instance, if
depends on what you're talking about.
So Hugo came out recently as trans, right? And my reaction was, "Oh, okay,
yeah,
cool,
fine,
I'm good with that."
I told her if she wants to talk about anything, give me a line, and we'll just go from there. That's it.
Yeah, if somebody said that they should have less rights as a result, or she should have less rights as a result, I would be appalled and I'd fucking scream about it. But, like, why is that not sufficient? Why is it not sufficient to say, somebody says, okay, I realize I'm transitioning, I'm trans, I'm transitioning to whatever, and you say, oh, okay, I accept you for who you are, I'm fine with that. There's no problem. There's nothing going on. I have no problems whatsoever. I think it's great. I'm glad you finally figured out, what's going on with you, and that you're moving in the direction to become, more mentally stable and more, capable of being who you are. But it's like, that's not enough. That's not enough. Like, not only do you have to do that, you have to accept, like, anything and everything, no matter what. Like, all of a sudden.
This is interesting.
And I draw the line. I mean, Jenny Hoyt and I have had some interesting conversations as far as what do you go ahead and accept? What are you forced to accept in order to get along? And we're both a little on the conservative side. I'm a little more binary than a lot of the younger kids are. I guess it's a consequence of the environment in which I grew up. I have to wonder how much of the non-binary stuff is even worth talking about. How much of it I'm going to get myself into a shitload of trouble here, so I might as well go into it.
I'll tell you what, Diana, I'll go right along with you. You go first, I'll go after you, and we'll both be in trouble.
Yeah, there you go. I do have to wonder how much of it is the kids get carried away because, hey, this is a new world and I like it, but it's like a younger kid eating themselves sick on candy.
Yeah. So
that makes any sense.
That makes sense. But one of my questions has always been, how much is this newer generation pushing back against, stereotypes of what they have to be? You know what I mean? Like, you're a man, you're a boy, you're a girl, you have to like this, you have to like that. You have to be into football, you have to be aggressive, you have to be this. You're a girl, you have to be submissive. And the newer generation is just like, fuck you, I don't have to do any of that shit. I'm you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not trying to undersell it or be offensive. I don't understand from an empathetic level any transition, because I'm not transitioning. You understand? Like, I've never felt like I'm not male. So I can't understand it.
Are you ever lucky? I envy you.
And I don't mean also, like, fuck, I have to throw like a million fucking hashtags out there, but I'm not saying that from a sense of like being ugly about it. I'm saying, like, I don't empathize with it because I can't empathize with it.
I've got it right. You're not saying it can't happen. You're saying you don't understand it.
Right.
Experience.
Right. Basically, what I'm saying is that I wish I could be cis. I don't care what it looks like. I just wish I could be cis.
Why though?
Because there's a lot of stuff that comes along with being trans. The societal thing, the acceptance and non-acceptance that the average cis person doesn't have to put up with.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like who I am. I love
Good.
Diana Clarion. I really do. And Diana
Right.
Clarion happens to be a trans woman. But I do wonder how much of my life would have been a little bit better had I not been trans, had I been cis.
Yeah, that goes into everything, though, because I wonder what my life would be like if my parents had been atheists. Like, if I hadn't spent the first 28 years of my life as a young Earth creationist, where the fuck would I be? You know what I mean? Like,
And
so
let me
I
plug
get.
something here. By the way, that story is available on my channel as well. I did interview Duke a while back.
Yeah, but it's
So you can
it's an
find it,
interesting.
IQ.
It's an interesting conundrum, you know. Like, to me, like, I don't see a problem accepting people for who they are, if who they are isn't harming other people, isn't a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to accept a Nazi because fuck you.
Yeah, that
You know what I mean?
Nazi's harming a hell of a lot of other people.
Yeah, and his intentions are fucking shitty. But if your intention is to be yourself and live your life and not fucking and just be happy, I don't have any fucking problem. Like, I don't give a shit whatsoever. Like, somebody once came to me about was it Otherkin? You know, they're like, what would you do if you owned a business and somebody that worked for you came to you and said they were Otherkin? And I was like, what? I mean, like, all right, so I own a business. I have an employee. He's a good employee. He does his job. He comes to me, you know, privately, and he says, "Hey, I'm Otherkin. I identify as a wombat." My answer is, "Well, good, man. Be the best wombat you could be." I don't fucking care. Like,
Yep.
I'm not gonna think less of them or whatever. Like, dude, that's your thing, dude. Do your thing.
Go ahead, Faye.
I was gonna say, just really quickly, I think part of what annoys me is when I was growing up, everyone was trying to find themselves, and now it just seems like it's the same. Everyone's still trying to find themselves, and just.
Well, I was behind a bookcase, and it took quite a while for me to find that out. But
my answer is just let them find themselves. I mean, let them go through whatever things they have to go through, and if it's simple as just a phase, that's fine. If it's something that sticks with them for the rest of their life, that's fine. It doesn't have to be permanent. It doesn't have to be not permanent. It could be whatever. I'm not saying no. I'm not firing at you. I promise. I'm not.
No,
I'm not.
Duke. What
Okay.
I'm trying to say is, I don't care if people are trying to find themselves. I just don't think it's a big deal. And
I agree.
It seems like other people seem to like to tell people how to live, how to identify, how to do this, how to do that. And a large part of me doesn't care. If
They
you're
have no
human,
right to
you're
do that
human.
anyway.
I don't really care about the details. Are you happy? Are you trying to be happy? You're not hurting anyone, right? Good. Okay. Let's go have coffee.
But that's just it. Like, okay, and these are extreme cases, and it's the extreme on it. But it's no matter what the extreme is. So like the trans issue. Let's year, like you have like an extreme end of it that say, you know, if a lesbian will not sleep with a trans woman because she has a penis, well, then that lesbian's transphobic. Or
No.
a gay man won't sleep
Which
with a
is
trans
silly.
man because
man,
yeah, okay. I mean, like I said, but that's an extreme, and I'm not saying this is the common thing. And I think like whatever side you say you're on, like I don't care. Like, call out the extremists on your side. Like, let's start cleaning up our own houses first.
Yes.
Because everyone's house is a little fucked up right now. So let's start cleaning up our own houses, and let's start figuring stuff out there, and then we can maybe start talking to each other outside them. I'm not talking about staying in an echo chamber or whatever and just but we need to clean our own shit up first, man. Like, everyone's got a mess.
I have a thought on all this mess that might get me in the shit.
Oh, good. Let's all just jump on in.
Yeah, so my thought is that trying to dictate how someone else thinks of you can be just as bad as somebody saying that you can't think of yourself how you want to think of yourself. For example, trying to force someone to see someone as something that they cannot see them as can cause just as much unnecessary conflict as that person trying to say, well, you're not that. I'm not explaining this very well. I should have really thought about how I was going to try to express this before I started saying it.
We've got a few hours, right, Neil?
No, a little under half an hour, but sure, that's close enough.
This has been in my head for a little while, but I haven't really formed it into sentences, so it's all come out backwards.
I would suggest, Badger, that you write it out and see what you get from there.
Well,
maybe
let me just try one more time. Let's see if I've got it clearer. If someone was to say to me that they identify as something that I think is ridiculous,
like a helicopter or something.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to go with a helicopter, but something that
I'm trying to think
maybe a badger.
Well, something that you keep your nose out there, Stu.
Trump is a brain surgeon. Trump tells you he's a brain surgeon. He wants to do the surgery, and you have to deal with it.
I don't want to use an example like that. I want to use an example where someone, I believe that they honestly see themselves like that, but I can't see them like that. So I don't think Trump would honestly think he's a brain surgeon. I think he would honestly try to present himself as one.
Ben Carson did.
He said he's a stable genius. So there you go.
Stable genius? He knows how to build stables for horses?
Do you see him as a stable genius?
No.
Okay.
No, my point is...
I don't even see him as stable, let alone genius.
I'm just trying to come up with an example. I mean,
I'm struggling to come up with it. Let's say that somebody sees themselves honestly as...
Rachel Dolezal saying she was black. How's that?
Listen, man.
Oh, yeah.
Stop beating around the bush. Just spit it out.
No, fuck it. Let's use that example. I'm not going to say...
Yeah, I wouldn't mind beating around a bush, but... Shit, man, I've been dry for 10 years.
Black example. I'm not going to go up and say, no, you fucking not. Get out of my fucking face. But... in my head, I don't accept that definition.
Oh, I don't know. I'm about to get a 7-day suspension or a permanent ban on Twitter.
Yeah, but you always get suspended on Twitter too.
Well, there's a guy called Against Sodomy. I guess he's a Muslim, and he put what is there to be jealous of, y'all's? Which is weird. Because he said y'all's, so I'm kind of like, what is to be jealous of y'all's purposeless, moralless, hopeless, valueless, miserable existence? #atheism. There's not one iota of true happiness for an atheist. And I'm about to retweet that, asking him if he's talking about the Quran. So,
oh dear.
We'll see how that goes.
That'll get you thrown off permanently. Hell yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
Many theists of all stripes say the same thing. I was at the Rosh Hashanah dinner with my family last night, and lo and behold, politics and religion came up. And I was talking to one of my sister-in-laws who had a few glasses of wine by then about me being an atheist and doing all this stuff, and she started asking me those same questions. I'm like, you don't need any of that shit to be a moral, decent human being. That comes through evolution, not your silly little books. So we evolutionarily, we realize the value of making sure that everything's good for the whole tribe. We'll call it tribe, for the betterment of everyone, right? So that's where our morals come from. It's for the betterment of all. It's ridiculous that they think that there has to be some invisible fucking deity that you can't even interact with for some moral guidance. That's just nonsense.
That's dumminess. And on top of that, have you guys ever fucking dealt with Craig Reed Holy?
Yes.
Yes, Craig.
Oh, boy. That guy is a fucking mess, dude. Like he puts out these videos where he just fucking goes on a tirade. He doesn't offer any. He literally is just like, I believe, I've had experiences, and you should believe because I've had experiences. Which I've had this conversation with him before. He got into it with the Peanut Gallery where they like critiqued his video, and they were putting timestamps out there and showing the critiques. And he's like, "This is bullshit. You're not being genuine because you have 20 critiques in the first 4 minutes." And it's like, no, there was 20 critiques in the first 4 fucking minutes, buddy. Like.
I think a couple of my earliest.
I've always wondered this. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
So I think a couple of my earliest response videos were to that chat.
Dude, he's a mess, man. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm sure he's a great guy.
I've never had a bad experience with him.
But like, he puts a video out. Like, he put a video out, and I literally pulled out a notepad, took notes, and then addressed the notes. And it ended up with him saying, "Are you saying that being a Christian is irrational or some shit?" And it was like, no, I'm asking you an honest question. If you believe that your experience is enough to justify belief in your experience is enough for me to believe, how do you quantify for schizophrenia or things like that? Like, how do you approach those subjects? And he's like, are you saying that all believers are friggin' mentally disabled? I'm like, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you think that your experience, and you're telling me you had an experience, is enough that I should be convinced by it, how do you actually account for people who have mental illness? Because people with mental illness experience all kinds of fucking things.
Are you sure you weren't talking to S.J. Thomason in a man suit?
I was.
No. Craig is
Craig's nowhere near S.J. level.
No, and he's actually a very nice man. But the thing is, none of his arguments or his thinking goes together. He is someone who doesn't question his faith at all, and he is going to say,
never a good idea.
Oh, well, you know what? That's his life.
Well,
and as much as I am an anti-theist, and I am, just because he doesn't make sense to us, or probably other Christians either, I honestly don't think he would. That's his whole shtick. And, I don't think he's malevolent. I don't think he's a Poe. I don't think he's a troll. I think he just knows these sound bites and he says them and he's proud of himself. And I don't think there's anything wrong with him that way. But when it comes to questioning, if you start to give him a question, like I had a conversation with him and I didn't understand something, so I asked him. He got very defensive. And
immediately.
I think atheists asking him questions has made him extremely unhappy. Although he still wants to share with atheists, he doesn't want to think with us.
Yeah,
and I don't think we should force that on him.
This is crazy.
Well, no, I'm not forcing it on him. I'm
conversations with him. I've never. Well,
I'm not forcing anything on him. It's just he brought up the subject up.
No,
and
I mean
asked him
in general. I'm not talking about you, Duke. I'm talking about atheists in general. When it comes to Craig, I would just let him be happily disillusioned with whatever he wants to think, because he's not at a stage where he is going to question himself or anyone else who believes. He's just like, oh, we believe in Jesus together, yay! And you should believe in Jesus too. Although the guy who swung around the jacket to heal people, my wife and I went to see him, and that's how we became Christian. Like, whatever, dude, whatever floats your boat.
I don't mind him, because in all my interactions with him, he's never been a dickhead.
Yeah. No, he's not. He wasn't a dickhead.
He may have been a little bit defensive at times, and he may have.
Oh yes.
And he may have been a bit funny, but
I'll let him know
I've never got a sense that he's been malevolent, or that he's been trying to get at me, or that he's been trying to shout at me, or he's been trying to do anything nasty. I've just got a sense that he's trying to be a genuine person and discuss things, even if he doesn't necessarily make a good point sometimes.
That's my point. That's my point. I'm not saying he's a bad person. Yeah. I'm not saying I don't like him. I'm just saying that, like, in conversations that I've had with him, and in a conversation I've viewed with him today, he kind of just expects that his anecdotal experiences, and that when he says, well, science is on the cusp of proving, supernatural experiences, and people say,
oh, I've had that chat with him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he gets where he's just like, you're being disingenuous. It's like, he's not being, the guy that's talking to you is not being disingenuous. He's just critiquing what you said. Like, I get, like, if you want to be a pro-Christian guy and you say all that stuff, that's fine. But if you throw that out in a conversation on Twitter, people are going to push back. You have to expect that.
Oh yeah. I know of a group of people whose names I will keep to myself, where they would like to sort of bend his arm and make him think, or at least make him question. And it's like, yeah, that's never going to happen. He's not at that stage.
I don't care if he questions, but if he says things in public, I'm going to fucking question him.
No, I get that. But I know, what I'm saying is I know someone whose singular focus is to make this guy think. Okay?
Yeah, I got you.
So
I got you.
Okay, there's more than one of them. I'm not accusing you of anything.
But just hold on a second. Hold on a second with this. Okay, I don't know who this person is. I have no clue. No dog in this fight whatsoever.
Right.
First of all, Twitter is a horrible place for what you're trying to do here. Okay, Twitter's a goddamn cesspool. Twitter should just be used to, here, I put this out, listen to it, and I use it to make snarky comments to people I know. And that's it. That's all it's good for. The rest of it's garbage. If you actually want to have this person out, and I've been recommending this thing to a lot of people, there's a social media thing that just started recently called letter.wiki. It's really good because what you do is you have 1,000 words. You write a letter to someone. They reply back to you. Other people can read the letter, but then you don't have all the likes and the comments and all that other bullshit. You can actually have a conversation with someone. You can put some nuance into it. You can go long form and you can go back and forth. It is public in the fact that people can read it. And then once you've written it, you can put that out on Twitter or Facebook, whatever. Yeah, I just wrote this on letter. I'm having a conversation with so-and-so, and other people can read it. And if you want to have these kind of things, Twitter is not the place to do it. And okay, I understand if this guy comes into your thread and makes some asshat remark, go ahead. If you want to go back and forth. But at some points, is it like really worth the effort? Like, like how much do you get paid an hour? Is it worth that much money to like argue with this guy on Twitter, like 280 characters at a time? Or, making reply videos and stuff like that. So, I mean, like, if you really want to have a decent conversation with someone, get on a platform that's better. Even Facebook is better than Twitter for this kind of stuff because you can write out something long form. Like I said, check out this thing called Letter. I mean, it's small. There's not a lot of people on it, but anyone can sign up and you can exchange a letter back and forth. And it's a reasoned argument. You have time to think about your reply. You can get into a lot more nuance than you can on Twitter. And you get rid of all the garbage that's out there. And it's like I said, if you really honestly have a purpose of making this guy think, Twitter's not the place to do it, man. It just isn't.
Oh no. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like I gave up on trying to make people think like a year ago. I more or less just troll people and do what I do. But he did. But if somebody comes on Twitter and they put out there, they say, "Hey, this is what I think. Atheists, tell me what you think." Yeah. Well, if you don't want to know what I think,
you shouldn't have asked.
Shouldn't have asked.
I kind of like the format of Twitter with its kind of with the character limit and the forced short form responses, because it's not that great if you're trying to actually convince someone of something. Although I've managed to change someone's mind on things once or twice on Twitter, and I've had my mind changed once or twice on Twitter. Sure. It's good for just finding out a nice, short, boiled down version of what someone thinks on a topic, or what someone quick facts or quick thoughts on a topic, where you don't want an entire essay on it. You just want, tell me in 2 sentences what you think about this, and you can get
that's so superficial. And if it's an important topic, tell me what you think of free speech. Okay, I think free speech should be absolutely okay. No, but I mean, okay. So what about threats of violence? What about slander? And Twitter is good for just getting out little snippets, or here's what I've done. Here's a new, I put out a blog post. I put on what.
Yeah.
It started out as a travel thing or like a review thing. I saw this movie. I went to this vacation site. That's why it was so short. But to I don't know. There's people who do these really long threads. Good on them. I don't have the patience for that. I don't know. And that's maybe just me, but they do the long thread because they need that space to put out their thought. And in the middle of it, you're going to get into side arguments with retards. Like, come on.
Well, part of the thing that I do on Twitter is I look for people to have longer form conversations with, and the way that
take it to Facebook because they don't have a limit.
Lord,
I'm
too
not
bad that live journal isn't any good
Getting
anymore. That was a good place for long form.
Live Journal and Dead Journal were both awesome.
I'm not
Yes.
on Facebook because Facebook's awful for a lot of other reasons.
No, but like I said, check out if you like the long form thing, where if let's say you encounter someone on Twitter who you want to have an agreement, just you have a disagreement, and you think it might be worth hashing it out.
Well,
check out Letter and ask them to go there, and it's meant for that.
I'm dyslexic, so written long form discussions really don't work well for me.
Okay.
What works for me, I've found so
Did
far.
you worship a dog?
There's probably a lot of other things that work well for me, but that there could be potentially. But here's what I found involving Twitter that works for me. I can get someone's short, boiled down thoughts on a topic, and see whether they agree or disagree with me, and also get some sense of who they are as a person just through their basic kind of way they present their ideas. And then, yes, it does bring out the worst in people, I agree.
It does. I agree. It's Inquisitive Quandary. I saw that too.
The point I'm getting at is
This is true too.
If the worst in people isn't that bad, they might be worth talking to. So what I will tend to do is if I like how someone presents their idea and their idea is interesting to me in its boiled down form, I might invite them to have a live chat with me and say, hey, do you want to have a longer discussion on this topic?
Yeah. See, I don't have anything so good planned. I'm just a cunt and a contrarian.
Well, yeah, but we love you anyway.
A contrarian.
I'm a contrarian. So I totally just don't give a shit. I used to get into these really long, boiled out conversations and the apologetics thing, and I realized I don't give a shit. Most of the things I put on Twitter or in my blog, if I write in my blog, are for atheists. I don't care if apologists speak to me. Sometimes I'll just kick the hornet's nest. I think it was last week. I just decided.
Not a good idea in general, Duke. I don't know if
I enjoy it. Like last week, I fucking got up classical theist's ass. Just because, why not? I was bored. There was nothing going on.
Okay, but
he was talking shit, and I felt like fucking his day up. So
I usually just ignore, but if I do, and it depends on the person too. But usually, if I'm going to get into it, they're just being completely dickish as far as I'm concerned. And how I respond to their insanity is I'll tell them how to make a cup of tea. I'll quote Beatles lyrics. I'll explain
that's
something.
Funny.
Okay, but that's just it. They're giving me nonsense. If I show them how to make a cup of tea, at least they're fit for some purpose. I'm not even going to bother engaging with their argument or whatever. If I want to say something to them, it's going to be sending something back to them going what the hell is this? It's the same as what I read when they sent me whatever they sent. But for the most part, I'm just why bother? It's just not worth it.
My go-to is saying my cat's breath smells like cat food. So
yeah,
that's true.
I don't.
I love it.
Ralph Wiggums.
Sorry, Angie. It's not meant in that way.
I like
what
putting,
happened.
No, Angie was saying she doesn't like
know what happened.
She doesn't like the word retard. So, and I kind of agree. I think it's because she has she's a parent of a mentally disabled child. So,
sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that.
We use it in a different context. We don't refer to mentally challenged children as that. This is used like idiot stick kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or the British definition of the word cunt.
Yeah, I love the word
A lot of
cunt.
people,
I think
don't like
cunt,
that one.
I think cunt is the greatest word ever invented, and I regularly refer to myself as a cunt, so it's fine.
Well,
it's gonna work out.
It's common lingo over in Bad Tempered Badgers land.
As the resident Brit in this stream, I can confirm that I grew up with a lot of people who would use both the word cunt and the other word we were just referring to as punctuation.
Yeah. Well, you also like, and this might be a little bit unpopular, but you also like every 5 to 10 years we have like somebody has some weird meetup where they're like, okay, the words that we've used for this are now no longer good. They have to come up with new words, and it's like, but you're saying the same thing.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
Like, you're saying the exact same thing. You're just using different words. And it's the same thing I said to a buddy of mine who was like, I don't use curse words, but he used frickin' or frackin'. It's like, you're saying fucking, because it means the same fucking thing, dude. You're just it's semantics. It's like, at one point or another, we're all talking about the same thing. Like, why is it that a term becomes non-PC after a certain amount of time of usage?
It becomes non-PC when it's derogatory. When it's being used in a derogatory way. Because that word actually just means slow, not incapable.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. And it's not even referring to people either, usually.
And
when it originally was in context.
And people's bias and preformed opinions have made that word into something else, and it's unpleasant. But I mean, I think most people are so into what they are saying that they've stopped listening anyway. Especially on Twitter, if you really if you time it, the time it takes a person to type out a decent response is usually a lot quicker than it should be, because they're not reading what you're responding with. Whether it's long form, short form, whatever, they're in a frenzy. And I think listening is something I'm saying people of 2019 really need to work on, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, but I think that goes to something okay, like the Industrial Revolution. Okay.
Yes.
Awesome thing. Everything was getting automated, like conveniences came along. Technology made things faster, so you could you clean your house faster, you could the cars coming along, you can drive, like the assembly line, everything got faster. We looked at technology that way, like faster. Then we looked at information in the same way. We shouldn't have. It's great that we've got Google and you can get everything at an instant, but it's horrible because we're not taught how to use it, and we're at the mercy of the algorithms. Yep. Like let's say Google, when you opened up Google, you had a bunch of tabs that said fiction, science, history, geography, whatever, right?
Someone needs to come up with that.
And I mean, no, but all Google has to do is make those tabs. And you want to do you want to read some historical fiction on the Civil War, you do a search for Civil War, you go to the fiction section, you get your historical fiction on the Civil War. It should be, we should be catering it like that. Like, we treated information like we treated the rest of technology, all the other advancements, faster. No. Okay, it's great that we can get it instantaneously, but we haven't learned how to parse it. Like, remember going to the library as a kid and learning how to do research? Mm-hmm. You go to the reference section if that's what you're going to do a project. If you're going to do a book report, you go to the fiction section, right? Like, we don't have that, and you're stuck with that goddamn algorithm, and so you're stuck with what you're going to get. And if you don't have the wherewithal to say, okay, today I spent looking up 20 things on quantum physics, so or 20 things like debunking quantum physics. Now I got to go back and actually get the real stuff, right? Yeah. So I think we got to change. I think those things need to be changed in the way we parse our information. It's a skill that we're losing. I remember, like, before cell phones, how many phone numbers could you remember?
Quite a few, actually.
Yeah. And I still, And I still remember phone numbers from like before cell phones were around when I was a kid. I can call it.
Same
I
here.
remember every single number I've ever had.
Yeah, but like now that we've got cell phones, I only remember 1 or 2 key numbers. The rest I have no idea. Right?
I don't even remember my home phone number. I only remember my mobile number.
Yeah, but like I said, we're losing these skills. We're losing these
all the time because I have to check people's demographics when they come to the ER, and I'll be like, "What's your mom's phone number?" They're like, "Hold on, let me pull my cell phone up." So yeah, I guess you're right about that.
Well, I can't remember my own phone number to save my life. I know I call myself at least twice a day, but you need to
just check in on yourself.
Yeah, it's.
I can remember.
There are various things that I have to provide a phone number for, and it's like, oh shit, I don't remember this thing. But I can call my babka at the phone number she had in 1963.
Which was what, 15?
MI
12701.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like that, like the kind of research, looking things up, and like it's a skill. Learning how to parse knowledge. We're losing that. Just like you go to a cash register, they can't do simple math, and the machine gives them the wrong number, and they don't know what to do.
Yeah,
it's because
idiocracy
using calculators. I'm not blaming the kid. I'm not blaming the kids.
No, I admit that I cannot perform simple arithmetic without a calculator anymore. It sucks rocks, really. It does.
I have to do it daily, so I'm pretty good at it.
But that's right. Everything's a skill, and looking up information. We got, we were able to go to the library and stuff like that. We got used to that kind of thing. But when Google came around, and you remember sitting in a bar and having a stupid conversation about who was that fight with in that movie between like it was Stallone and someone's like no it wasn't Stallone and Carl Weathers, it was Stallone and someone else or whatever, right? But now you just go on Google, it's done. And we've gotten used to that. We've lost that skill, and we need to get it back. Otherwise, I think we're screwing ourselves hugely.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Something else that the trouble there is that it prevents people from wanting to retain information in their own heads, because there's no point in remembering a load of facts when those facts are on the internet, and you can just go, oh, I wonder what that thing that I discovered last night was. I'll look it up again now.
Well, Asimov did write a what do you want to call it? A treatise, an essay on that sort of thing. It appeared in the collection called The Planet That Wasn't. But yeah, it was he was writing that knowledge or intelligence
I gotta go, guys.
So much. Okay. Say again?
All right.
I'm being paged now. Or paged. Jesus, what is this, the 90s? I'm texted. But anyways, finish your thoughts, and I want everyone to shill out their channels, of course.
Okay.
Before I take off.
I'll just draw that to a close because I forgot where I was. Oh, excuse me. And you know how it is when you get old. When you get old, the mind is the second thing to go, and I kind of forget what the first is.
Neil Skypager.
Oh no, Asimov. Yeah, on the intelligence is not so much the facts that you assimilate, but what you can do with those facts and knowing where to go to get them. That was it. Okay. We're done.
I'll fax my details to you, Neil.
I love the fax machine. That the weird noise that it used to make. Yeah.
There's still some companies around here that have a fax machine, and they will occasionally list it on their websites as telephone and fax. So then occasionally people will ring up the fax number and they'll be like, why can't I get through on a fucking phone number? And I'll go, because you're calling the fax machine.
I still have to hook up my computer with a phone to the modem. So,
what was the name of the guy who did the Dragnet? He was the detective, and I think he appeared in a commercial at one time for a fax company where he had the briefcase in just the fax, ma'am.
Wasn't it Columbo? Just the fax was Columbo, right?
No. That's no. Columbo was a.
No, but Columbo said just the fax, man.
Oh yeah, he did from time to time. But Dragnet always that was like their catchphrase. With Columbo, it was just one more thing. And then
that's right.
Yeah.
Back and he'd always ask him.
Wasn't there one episode of that where they fucked off to Narnia or something?
What?
They came to your home?
I don't know.
All right. Obaid, let everybody know.
Yeah, if you guys, if anyone's interested on SoundCloud and iTunes, it's Dangerous Speech. And if you want to read my ramblings, poorly written, it's libertyuttered.wordpress.com.
Yeah, which is the one I linked in the original conversation that Obaid and I had earlier. Lavender Lady.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between. I am Diana Clary and the Lavender Lady. How the hell are you? Find me on the Lavender Lady on
Twitter.
YouTube. There it is. Twitter is Lavender Lady 0. I do have one of those Facebook fan pages, the Lavender Lady. I actually use it occasionally. And I really don't have anything specific planned for the near future. Trying to come up with something for the weekend. We'll come up with something and
Coffee with
go
Lavender is a great series you should check out on our channel for sure.
Oh, well, thank you for that. Yeah, it's okay. I can't even think of her name now. Shannon was just on my channel a couple hours ago. Say again?
She made it tonight.
Yeah. She was still a little squeaky in the voice. It wasn't perfect, but she wouldn't have have delaying for another day. And it's like, hey, Shannon, if you need the time, I'll give it to you easily enough. But she's, I insist. I'm sorry. You know, you Canadians, I don't know. You'll apologize for apologizing. You know how that goes.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So, yeah, if you want to look on the show we just had, it was on grieving at a distance.
Right.
Long distance grieving. Okay.
Wonder Lady.
My channel is Wonder Lady. I ask questions. My YouTube is still under development, and Obaid, the last thing you said about Googling and things like that, you and I have to have an argument about that later. So, but other than that, you know I love you too. So it's going to be a fun conversation.
Sure.
Because I love your mind, and I love when we don't agree as much as I do when we do. Anyway, that's me. Next.
Badger.
Hello, I am Bad Tempered Badger, and I talk about stuff on the internet sometimes. You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Gab, Minds, and Pornhub, and somewhere else that I forgot.
Pornhub.
Yeah, all right. You'll be right there.
He's part of the Pornhub community.
Yeah,
the Badger Den.
I sometimes do opinion pieces. I sometimes do random projects. I'm currently doing story readings and stuff as well. Sometimes talk about Star Wars, mostly complaining about Disney. Yeah, and I also should add, as the resident Brit in this stream, we also do a lot of apologizing, but it's mostly sarcastic.
There you are.
Which I apologize profusely.
I love it.
All right, and last but not least, the amazing Duke Bonanza.
Okay, I'm Duke Bonanza. I'm a lovable cunt on Twitter. I say inappropriate things in every situation I'm capable of doing it. And I think that sometimes, but not always, the context of what you're saying is more important than the language that you use.
Yeah, I would agree.
Oh, hell yeah.
So fuck you anyway.
Yeah.
All right, and you guys know who I am. I'm Neil, the 604 Atheist. You guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I hope you guys had a good time. And Obaid, again, man, thank you for coming on and being on my show tonight. It was fantastic.
Oh, thank you very much. A lot of fun.
Obaid is the big sweetie, definitely.
Us Canadians, man, we're sweethearts usually. Sorry about that. I promise I'll send everyone some maple syrup. And anyways,
and I'll send everybody an assault rifle.
Yeah. Could you post me some maple syrup? It's really expensive over here.
Oh shit, Badger!
The Canadians they rate almost as good as the Southern Californians.
Well, listen, I'm from Florida, so I'll send everybody an assault rifle and some beef jerky.
Oh boy, sign me up!
Are you this Are you this superhero I keep reading about, Florida man?
Yep.
That's right. Thanks for having me, Neil.
Oh, always a pleasure, lady. You know that.
That sounded interesting.
People in here. All right, guys. Like I always say at the end of these things, like the late great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we'll see you guys next time.
Take care, kids.
Good night.